And I must also add this: working out after you have done your job is actually quite bad for you. Like working out 2 hours, I wouldn't say working out half an hour is bad for you, but working out 2 hours, which is, like I said, the amount you have to see any kind of muscle on your body with average genetics, average testosterone levels without exogenous testosterone, is quite it's quite a bit. And do that after you did 7 hours of work per day, 10 hours of work per day. That's disastrous, because when you do a physical job, your job is your workout. You do that 7 hours a day. You don't have to go back home and then spend 2 more hours in the gym. For example, this is how athletes perfectly remain healthy, because their job is their workout and they have to work out 7 hours daily, right? But the difference is they don't work out 7 hours daily. No, most of them don't even work 7 hours daily. At most, they also work 3 hours daily. But that is the only thing they do all day. They work out 3 hours daily and then they go back home and sleep. That's what athletes do. You know, 2 hours of workout or 3 hours of workout after you have done, a 7 hour work shift is destructive to your life. What the fuck am I saying? What the fuck am I saying? 3 hours of workout is already way too much for most athletes. Most athletes don't work out 6 or 7 hours a day. In fact, I would argue that we work twice as many hours on average than athletes do. The only time athletes work anywhere close to that many hours is on match days. Yeah, and that depends on how long the match is. And generally, they do absolutely nothing before the match. They do some slight practice, but they don't do anything physical. It's known as tapering. So, this whole idea that you are doing good by working out 2 hours and doing skincare after you have done this 7 hour job is anything useful, it's going to be horrible. Like, there's this whole argument they make that, oh, you are running after women, bro. But their whole argument is indeed just running after women. Like, their whole advice is just indeed running after women instead of doing what makes them run towards you. You are running at them. Like, have a full-time job, on top of that work 2 hours in the gym, on top of that do face skincare. What happens to the average guy when he does that? When the average guy does that, the result he gets is a nagging wife, because whatever he is doing in the gym for 2 hours and in the washroom with washing his face, it only gets him to a point that his wife gets annoyed that he isn't helping with the dishes. That's what happens with the average guy who does this stuff. Oh, why are you spending so much time in the gym? Why are you washing your face? Wash the dishes instead. That's where it usually gets, because you see all of these skincare videos. See how it's always a good-looking guy with a good-looking face who does that, and guys who actually have worse faces, they sometimes even have better content, or average-looking faces, they're made fun of, how they're nothing special. Like, that is all that needs to be said about. So you spend 7 hours, 10 hours at your work, 7 to 10 hours at your work. You spend 2 hours in the gym, drains you again. You get back home, you wash your face, and then your wife nags you for washing the dishes. What happens after that? You get no time. Bro, just work hard and then you will have a good life. You have no time to enjoy your life. It's never been a thing in human history that men work out like this after their job has been done. In fact, this whole gym thing, this workout thing is a new thing. People mostly worked out if that was their profession. Either a physical job or sports. I'm going to drop this state. It's not compatible with lifestyle. 2 hours of workout. It's not compatible with physical work when you are already doing 7 to 10 hours of non-physical work, which is, well, quite physical if you look a little bit deeper. It's quite a bit physical. Sitting around all day, typing and stuff like that. It's probably much more stressful than raising children at home where you can sit however you want, and women spend a lot of time doing that. You can just sit wherever you want, lay down, doing that stuff. You can do that. You have free mobility. At the office you don't even have physical mobility. And after all of this, you do 2 hours of workout. You go to do 2 hours of workout. That is destructive for your body. At most, what is good for you is 30 minutes of workout, which will keep your metabolism and your mobility in check. But keep this in mind, you push it further than that, try to gain muscles, it's going to destroy your body when you are already working a physical job. When you are already working a physical job, pushing more than 30 hours in workout, when you're already working a non-physical job, like a long shifts and stuff like that, and then you push it more than 30 minutes per day, it's destructive for your lifestyle. It's destructive for your lifestyle, and it's a silent killer. People think that they're doing a great job by spending hours in the gym after they just did their full-time shift. They're complete idiots. Even athletes don't do that kind of stuff. Athletes work out 3 hours a day, done, complete, it's completed. And you're working out that much after you did a 3 hour job. Those people have maids at home. They don't come home and wash dishes like that. Keep this in mind. Athletes don't come home to a nagging wife either. The lifestyle you're talking about, it's dangerous. And that's the reason so many men die early. Also, like, I'll drop another comment. If you are not Mr. Chad, you basically have to keep women alive for them to not nag about you. Nag all the time. In the modern world, they have the ability to keep themselves alive, right? Before the technological revolution, and I do not mean the industrial revolution by that, I mean the technological revolution of the late 1800s and early 1900s. The workplace, however intellectual the job was, it required a degree of physicality which women could not sustain long term. So men basically had to accumulate all the resources, and they had to keep the women alive. And when the workplace became easy, when the workplace didn't give you clerk's hump, writer's cramp, and then there was a plethora of other physical jobs. I won't even talk about them, but even these non-physical jobs used to be body destroyers back then. Women didn't do these jobs. They never asked for anything in those jobs precisely for those reasons, because they were unhealthy too. In fact, these jobs, even with all of these modern technologies, women don't work them after they have children, or rather they have children in order to avoid those jobs, so the guy would do the job for them. That's what they do. Because even today, technology has only flattened the differences. It hasn't completely mitigated the differences. After a certain age, this can't even work more than office work on average. I will be very clear about this. They are not very tolerant to that. So, again, however, they still believe that they can keep themselves alive. They don't have that experience since 20 years of age. So even when they're 40 and they cannot really work that office job, they will still nag you because they have that experience. It's not just about getting with Chad one day and then they think they're too good for an army. They work in the office for 10-15 years when their body permits it, and then they're with a guy, oofy doofy, who does all the hard work for them and they cannot do. They still think that they are that woman. They can still do it. This guy is not keeping me alive. I am choosing to be with him. No, you are not choosing to be with him. You cannot work more than 25 hours of office work per week. But even when women are not married, even when women are single, when they do not have children, when they're living alone, they actually work 8 less hours of office work than men do. Because they simply cannot do that. They simply cannot do that work for that long. On average, it's simply just true. But yeah, because they have this experience now, they nag the oofy doofies that they're with. So basically, if you are not Chad, you have to keep women alive, keep the women alive just to not get nagged. But again, even if you are keeping the woman alive today, after a certain age when she cannot do shit for herself, then she probably still thinks that she can still do it herself, and you are not that important. When you are extremely important, probably the reason that she is alive anymore, that she doesn't have to break her bones and do the office work, that she can no longer do now that she is in her 40s. That's the state of the modern world. So basically, the only way that you can get a wife who isn't constantly nagging you is by being Chad. That's it. Or at least the guy who is not immediately replaceable by another guy who comments on her Instagram post and, hey sweetie, how you doing? That kind of thing, Like, they think that that is their station. They think that that is their station, just the same way they think that you are not important for their life, even though you are the one keeping them alive. And again, they have the divorce court on their side as well, so they think they can nag, they can say all this shit. They think that they're doing all of this stuff while they will literally bitch out if you switch the job. While you will be perfectly fine doing whatever she is doing at home. So yeah, this one's getting a bit ranty, but yes, it had to deal with feminism at some point of time because we are talking about family dynamics, right? We are talking about family dynamics, so of course this was going to come up.